Hello, and welcome back to those of you who are coming back. And to those of you that are new, hello, my name is Michael Sparrow. I'm a 44-year-old man in San Antonio, Texas, and I am using this vlog as a visual representation of my overall personal growth. So thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Over the last 10, 11 weeks now, I have been on a very up and down journey of personal growth, getting a better understanding of myself, getting a better understanding of loss, and that brings me to this week's topic, which I want to talk about grief, because I think that that's something that gets lost in all of this. That when we do lose somebody, right, whether that's through death, through breaking up with somebody, through arguments that we have with friends, whatever that may be, that loss that we have, it does entail some kind of grief. And for each one of us, we have to understand that there's different time, right? That I'm sure that everybody out there has lost somebody that they love, and whether that be through death, right? I've lost many people over the last few years as we age that are gone, and that is extremely hard, right? That's something that everybody deals with. We all deal with death, and we all deal with the grief of death and having to learn to live without that person. I think the thing that I have found with this breakup, and for those of you that are new, I broke up with my partner of almost 5 years in July, and that's what kind of sparked me doing this, in conversations with my therapist and through my journaling. I thought this would be a good way for me to really get a better understanding of who I am, and honestly to be able to go back and see my growth and see where it was where I started and the way that I felt, and through the things that I've learned and the different readings that I've done and the books and the websites and just the own personal reflection that I have of myself, how far I've grown. And with that comes, this thought of grief. And I've been thinking about that a lot this week. I've been reflecting on that a lot, and trying to come to more of an understanding of what grief is to me, right? Because obviously, again, losing somebody you love and to death is one thing, but it's a hard and tough pill to swallow whenever you have somebody that was there all the time and then suddenly they're gone. And unlike it is within death, where they're gone and you're never going to be able to speak to them, you're never going to be able to contact them, they're never going to be able to come to you. In losing a relationship, the grief is very different. It's very to me, it's almost harder, because that this is a person that you could reach out to. This is a person that you could talk to. This is a person that you could send a text, make a phone call, write a letter, send a card, whatever it may be. But also coming to terms with the fact that this person doesn't want that, right? A decision has been made that there is no longer any contact. And because of that, there's a lot of stress and anxiety and emotions that come along with it. And for me, that was for a long time something that was hard to come to terms with. It was hard for me to handle, to be honest with you. There were many nights that I spent alone, trying to find things to do to keep my mind off of things, where eventually I would sit and turn the TV on, and with my phone in my hand, type out these long, elaborate text messages that ultimately I would erase, because in the end I would realize, and I would come to the conclusion, that this person doesn't want me to contact them, right? This person doesn't want me to have that kind of relationship with them anymore. And again, it's a hard pill to swallow, but it's one that needs to be swallowed. It's one that needs to be dealt with, right? Because it's hard to deal with those emotions at times. But there comes a point where you have to come up with a decision, right? You have to make a decision for yourself to keep moving, right? It's like we've talked about before. If you go back and listen to some of the other things that I've talked about, one of the things is that the preciousness of time is something that's important, because time is going to continue to move, right? Time is going to continue to go forward. There is no going back, right? There's only going forward. So with that realization and swallowing that pill, as tough as it is, you come to the conclusion that there has to be some kind of untethering. Not necessarily of the memories that you have, because I can tell you right now that the memories that I have from this previous relationship are, for the most part, good. Yes, there are things with all relationships that come that are ups and downs, but the memories that I tend to come back to are those that are good memories, right? They're memories that are happy memories, memories that put a smile on my face. And sometimes I do get emotional when I think about those memories, just for the simple fact that they were good times, right? But the key when thinking about that is that term, or the word were, right? This is all past tense. These are all things that happened, and yes, they are wonderful things, and yes, this is a time that you're never going to forget, and a person that really you're never going to forget for the rest of your life. If we want to make sure that we're doing the best with the time that we have to live in the present moment. And what I've come to realize, and the thing that I'm really, really working hard in my growth to do, is to realize that just like anything else, we're not tethered to those emotions. And when I say that, that means that decisions are made every single day. We have emotions that come about from those decisions, whether they are happy, sad, anger, upset. You know what our emotions are, right? You are a person. You feel emotions. I know you do. But for me, I had a problem with those emotions defining the person that I was. And I'm coming to find out in really realizing that to live in the present, you aren't defined by those emotions, right? So being able to not just untether yourself from this idea that we are or are defined by decisions that are made by ourselves or by others, or the emotions that we have, has really brought to light this idea of living in the present. If we're not able to untether, and I can tell you from personal experience and the way that I was feeling at the beginning of this whole journey, is that I felt like a failure. And I felt like everything was on my shoulders, and it was me. It was my fault, right? The way things happened, everything that happened was my fault. And it was because I was so deeply attached to the emotions that were coming from the breakup that I had just had, that I couldn't see past that. Once I was able to reflect, and again, this is through journaling, this is through counseling, this is through talking to friends, I was really able to come to this understanding that, if we're going to live life and live life to the fullest, we have to be aware that those feelings are there, right? Acknowledge that we have those feelings, but in the end, really coming to terms with the idea that those feelings and those emotions don't define the person that we are. Yes, somebody made a decision, and that decision was something that hurt. But in the end, it was a decision that person made for themselves, because they thought that was going to be better for them. With that, and with that understanding, you can untether yourself from the emotions that come with it, because that decision doesn't define the person that you are. That decision that that other person made was a decision that they made for themselves. And yes, you are or were involved with it. I was involved with the decision that was made for my relationship to end. It was a decision that wasn't made for me, it was made for the other person, but in the end, it was something that I had to deal with. That decision was made. Emotions were had. But those emotions don't define the person that I am. And for me to be in the present, and for me to be the person that I want to grow into, the person that I am growing into, I have to realize this fact. And I think that if a lot of people would do this, and a lot of people would have this understanding, then it probably would help. Because ultimately, the one person that the decisions and the decisions that you make, the emotions that you feel that are going to affect is going to be you. And if you can affect the decisions and emotions that you have in a positive way, it's going to positively affect the people that are around you. Not all people are going to grieve in the same way in the same time frame. Not all people are going to understand this idea. As a matter of fact, not all people are probably going to be able to handle or grasp that idea. And they're going to grieve in their own way, and they're going to come to terms with things in their own way, and they're going to move forward in their own way. But at the end of the day, it's all about moving forward. It's all about that forward momentum and that forward movement that we have with life, because, again, time doesn't stop. Time keeps on moving forward. And if you get stuck and attached to the ideas of the past, how can we ever move forward? That's where I'm at, is understanding that to completely and totally move forward, I have to move past the idea that I'm a failure because this relationship didn't work. I have to move past the idea that even though it does sadden me that the relationship didn't work, the relationship didn't work. A decision was made, and now, even though both parties and others that were involved, obviously, have to deal with the decision that was made, a decision still was made where everybody can continue to move forward. Which is ultimately what we want to do. We ultimately want to continue to move forward. And that's what I'm doing. I'm moving forward. I'm moving forward. Which is why I'm doing this. Which is why I'm creating these videos. This isn't me to come on here and, oh, woe is me. Oh, poor, terrible me. I'm such a horrible person. No, that's not what it is. What I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to give myself a visual representation so I can see 10, 11 weeks ago that sad sap that was crying into this computer about how awful I felt about everything that was going on and how much I missed this person and how much I wish that they were still here. That even though that may still be true, and I may still miss them, which I do, at the end of the day, I have to untether myself from the idea of that relationship, because in this present moment, that relationship isn't what is happening. What is happening is I'm coming to the realization that right now is right now. The present is this present. This is what I have in my hand, and I need to continue to move forward. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to continue to move forward. I'm going to continue to grow. I'm going to continue to learn, because obviously there are going to be setbacks. I am going to have the fallbacks into that mindset, because I am still learning, right? We are going to fail as we learn, and with those failures only give us a reason to learn more and to be better, right? So take the time for yourself. If you're having a hard time with grief, or you're having a hard time with the situation that's happening, realize that the emotions and the decisions that are made around you that aren't your decisions don't define the person that you are. You define that person. Be a positive light. That's what I'm trying to do. And I hope that these videos are a positive light onto this world and onto anybody who watches them. With that said, I'm going to go ahead and leave it there for today. I thank you for watching. I hope that this is helpful to somebody or anybody out there. And like I tell my students at school, keep your head held high, one foot in front of the other, and keep moving forward. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again next week.